Hello everyone. Let's explore the fundamental of JavaScript, which is the language behind the web in RKode's way. When we open a website, we see buttons, forms, animations, menus, dashboards, and many things happening on the screens, right? But have you ever wondered what actually makes a web page behave like an application? The answer is JavaScript. But before we start writing JavaScript programs, there are few terms we need to understand. The first one is JavaScript, followed by we need to understand what is ECMAScript, what about ES6, and about the JavaScript engine, and finally about the runtime of the JavaScript. Do you think all these are all same? Not exactly. So let's understand them one by one. First of all, we try to understand what is JavaScript is. Okay. Simply, as like another programming languages, JavaScript is also a programming language. It is an object-oriented programming language. In simple term, we use JavaScript to provide the instructions to the computer or an application to perform some tasks. That's it. For example, look at this code. There are two instructions. The first instruction is called as a variable declaration. Okay, there is a variable called user as a constant scope with the name John. In the second instruction, the the user name has to be printed over there in console through the console.log function, and the argument is given as a template string along with the variable name user. All right. Okay. Now we may have the question, who defines what JavaScript is allowed to do? There were an ECMAScript comes in. We need to understand what is JavaScript and what is ECMAScript now. Okay. So as we said, the JavaScript is a programming language, right? And that ECMAScript is a standard. It is nothing but it is a standard. Okay, it defines the syntax and the core language features that JavaScript implementation should follow. For example, how to declare a variables, how to use a functions, objects, classes, operators, promises and modules. There are all parts of the language specification. So remember this simple distinction. JavaScript is simply a programming language, whereas ECMAScript is a standard that defines the language. You will often hear the people use these terms interchangeably. But as a developer, understanding the technical difference will help you understand documentation and modern JavaScript much better. Okay. Hereafter, now we just want to learn what the ES6 is. Okay, I will show you. The ES6 actually an ECMAScript 2015 which has been launched. I mean the major update released in 2015, right? And this release changed the way developers how to write a JavaScript code. Before ES6, usually the developer uses the variable using the qualifier var. When ES6 introduced, it allows to work with let and constant. Similarly, there are a lot of changes has been introduced. Okay, you can see here. So ES6, it allow you to use two variable qualifiers. One is let and constant. The function syntax has been changed. Earlier it was declared like this. Now the function can be declared with the shortest definition like arrow function. This is called an arrow function, and it has introduced classes, and it has introduced the template literals and destructor, and it allow you to use the default parameters, modules, and promises, and you can able to use the spread operator and many more. These are the advanced features have been introduced in ES6 compared with the earlier versions. Okay, so is the ES, are you feel now the ES6 is the latest JavaScript? No, this is not the latest JavaScript. Actually, the ES6 was released 2015. Thereafter, there are a lot of JavaScript releases are there year by year. Okay, the ECMAScript evolves year by year. ES 2016, ES 2017, ES 2018, and ES 2019, like it is getting evolved. So today, don't think I'm learning ES6 JavaScript. Instead, think I'm learning modern JavaScript and the ECMAScript features supported by my target environment. That's much better way to think as professional developer. Okay. Now, who defines the ECMAScript? Who's the person taking the responsibility to define that ECMAScript? Now let's look at it. The person whose name is TC39. Okay. They are a community, they are a technical committee responsible for evolving ECMAScript specifications. Okay. The new language feature does not simply appear overnight. They go through the proposal, review process, and discussions. After completion of all these stages, the specifications has to be defined, and finally it has been released as standard. Okay. TC39 evolves ECMAScript, standardizes, developer use it through JavaScript implementation. Now we have another important question. If the ECMAScript defines the language, who actually executes our JavaScript code? That's a job of a JavaScript engine. You can see here. What is JavaScript engine? You can see here. What is JavaScript engine? A JavaScript engine processes and executes JavaScript code. For example, in Chrome and Microsoft Edge, we use V8 as a JavaScript engine. It's just like a compiler in another programming languages, right? Whereas in the Firefox browser, the JavaScript engine is called SpiderMonkey, and in your Apple browser, it is in Mac browser, it is a JavaScript core. Okay, let's take a simple example. Look at it, the JavaScript code. There is a variable result and constant scope. So 10 plus 20 are those two constants are added together and the result was stored over there in the result. And finally the result is printed through the console.log. When this code runs, the JavaScript engine is responsible for processing the code and producing the result. We will later learn exactly what happened inside the engine from parsing to execution and an optimization. But for now, remember, JavaScript engine executes the JavaScript codes. And next, we now come to one of the most important concepts called runtime. Okay. What exactly is the runtime? The runtime is the environment in which JavaScript executes. And this is where many beginners get confused. The runtime is more than just the JavaScript engine. For example, the browser provides JavaScript engine, and the Node.js is also provide the JavaScript engine. Okay. Usually the JavaScript engine includes DOM APIs, events, timers, and networking APIs. Okay. So the browser having a JavaScript engine and browser APIs. The engine executes the JavaScript. The runtime provides the environment and additional capabilities. Okay. Putting all together, as a developer, you are going to write a JavaScript code. You follow the syntax and semantics as per the ECMAScript definitions. and there is a JavaScript engine which is processed the code, and it runs under the runtime either by the browser or by the Node.js environment, and finally we'll got the result. Correct? This is an overall execution procedure of an JavaScript. So the next time you hear someone say JavaScript, ECMAScript, ES6, an engine, and runtime, don't treat them as 5 different names for the same thing. Now you know how they are connected. This foundation will make the rest of our JavaScript journey much easier. This is RKodeAcademy. Learn and code and grow. In our next video, we will explore the important question: where does JavaScript actually run? We will look at the browser, server, runtime, JavaScript engine in much more detail. See you in the next video. Thank you.